Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if you can be tricked into disliking a politician even if the accusations against them aren't true? Well, today we're diving into some fascinating new research that explores exactly that. What if there was a way to build up your mental defenses against fake news and nasty rumors about political figures? That is the big question this study tackles. Basically, they found that a little bit of pre-warning about how people try to manipulate you can actually make you less likely to believe bad things about politicians, even if those things aren't proven. Pretty cool, right? Let's break down how they did it and what it means. The researchers here were curious about how misinformation, especially in politics, affects how we feel about candidates. They know that false accusations can really hurt a politician's image, and often, even when the accusation is proven false, people still kind of remember it and feel negatively. This is called a continued influence effect. They wanted to see if inoculation interventions, which are basically like pre-exposure to weak doses of bad arguments to build up immunity, could help with this specific problem in politics. Think of it like getting a mild flu shot to prevent you from getting really sick later. They wanted to see if warning people about manipulative tactics like using emotionally charged language could make them more resistant to negative political attacks. So, how did they test this? They ran a bunch of studies, including 3 big ones with over 1,500 people each, and then some smaller ones. In total, over 6,000 people participated. Everyone started by looking at short bios and bumper stickers for 27 made-up political candidates. This was to get a baseline of how they felt about each candidate before anything else happened. Now, here is where the inoculation came in. Some participants watched a video that explained common manipulation tactics like emotional language in political messages. Others watched a control video which was just about something boring like freeze or burn. In some of the earlier pilot studies, they even used a game called Bad News as the inoculation, which teaches you how fake news is made. After the inoculation or control video, people saw posts about these fictional candidates. There were 3 types of scenarios. One where the candidate was accused of misconduct, and that accusation was immediately refuted by a journalistic source. Another where the candidate was accused but there was no refutation. And a third where the candidate was presented with neutral information. After seeing each candidate's information, participants rated how they felt about them on a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 is really negative and 100 is really positive. They did this right after seeing the posts, and then again later. What did they find? First, in the group that didn't get the inoculation, the accusations, even when they were later corrected, did make people feel more negatively about the candidates. This is that continued influence effect they were talking about. But here is the really important part. When people did get the inoculation, they were less affected by the accusations. The inoculation helped to lessen the negative impact of the accusations on their feelings about the candidates, especially when the accusations were not refuted. It was like their mental defenses kicked in. Combining all the studies, they found a pretty clear pattern. The inoculation made a real difference. It reduced the negative rating by about 3 points on average for candidates facing uncorrected accusations. That might not sound like a lot, but in the world of political opinion, even small shifts can be significant. They also looked at accusations that were corrected. Here, the effect of inoculation was smaller, but still there in some of the studies, it seemed to help a bit in reducing the lingering negative feelings even after the truth came out. They also checked how people felt after a short delay. Even then, the inoculation seemed to help a bit, though the effects were a little weaker. The effect was still there for uncorrected accusations, showing that the inoculation's protective effect could last for a little while. Interestingly, when they checked again 2 days later, the inoculation effect seemed to fade. This suggests that while inoculation can be helpful in the moment, its long-term power might be less strong without some kind of reminder or booster shot of information. They also looked at whether the inoculation helped people judge the accuracy of news headlines in general, not just about these fake candidates. They found a small but significant improvement in people's ability to tell if a headline was true or false. This suggests that learning about manipulation tactics can have broader benefits for media literacy. So, what is the big takeaway from all of this? The researchers conclude that these inoculation interventions, the ones that teach you about manipulation tactics, really do make people less vulnerable to false accusations against politicians. It is particularly effective when the accusation's truth is unclear. They think inoculation works by making people more skeptical from the start, or by making them pay more attention when corrections do come out. It is not perfect though. They clearly state that it doesn't completely get rid of the lingering effects of misinformation, which is what we'd ideally want. The positive effects were still there after a short delay but waned over longer periods. This is an important limitation. If you are trying to protect yourself from misinformation, you might need more than just a one-time inoculation. This study is the first to really show that inoculation can directly help people form fairer impressions of political candidates even when they're hit with negative claims. It suggests that teaching people how to think rather than just what to think can be really powerful. And the fact that it improved general headline judgment accuracy is also a big deal. It shows that these skills can transfer to new situations. They also tried to figure out why inoculation works by looking at memory, but that part didn't quite pan out as expected. They found that accusations were remembered better than refutations, and inoculation didn't change that. This means the why behind the attitude change is still a bit of a mystery they want to explore further. One of the biggest limitations they point out is the inconsistency between studies, the heterogeneity as they call it. This means that while the general trend is clear, the exact size of the effect can vary quite a bit from study to study. They're not entirely sure why this is. They also acknowledge that their study setup isn't exactly like real life. People only see a few pieces of information about each candidate, and they know their choices don't really matter. In the real world, things are much more complex and emotionally charged. But despite these limitations, the core message is strong. Teaching people to recognize manipulative tactics is a valuable tool. It can help protect us from being unduly influenced by false or unproven accusations in politics. It can slow down the spread of misinformation, giving journalists time to verify or debunk claims before opinions are cemented. Overall, this research offers a hopeful path forward in combating political misinformation. It shows that empowering individuals with critical thinking skills through inoculation can make them more resilient. It's not a magic bullet, but it's a significant step in building a more informed and less easily swayed public. So what do you think about this research? Can you imagine yourself benefiting from this kind of mental inoculation when you see political news? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more science demystified, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks for watching and stay curious.